you, I'll go ahead and kick us off. Great. All right, so we're going live here in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Hello and welcome everyone to another Chat and Learn here with Power to Fly. My name is Mariella Marie, and as always, super excited to roll into this next hour with you all. I'm actually excited to continue to get to know our guest speaker offline, as I know she has some goals on coming down here to Argentina in Patagonia. So I'm going to try to throw her the net so she can come on down here. And just so that we can maximize our time here, because I know we've got probably quite a few perfectionists here on the call that probably have something to do right after we finish this call. I'm actually just going to set us up here for success. So just going to go over some quick housekeeping rules so that we all feel comfortable and confident. No need to remind folks here, lots of crazy things going on in the world. You could be doing anything else with your time, but you're deciding to be with us for the hour. So with that, let's really maximize our time here by participating. We would love your presence. We would love for you to stop multitasking. If you can challenge yourself to stop multitasking in this hour, you would get some digital confetti thrown your way from us. So please close your tabs, put your phone on silent, and participate so that, we can really get some live interaction here. You can drop any questions or any reflections in the chat box. I've muted everyone upon entrance just to avoid any background noise, but I can't stress enough, we want to hear from you. We want your voice to be heard. So feel free to hop off of mute whenever you have something you want to share. Feel free to turn your cameras on. I know that digital fatigue and video fatigue are real these days, but again, this is another great way to participate by turning your cameras on if you feel called to do so. We believe in visibility here at Power to Fly, as I'm sure a lot of you do as well. This is a safe digital space. Hey, Heather, thank you so much. I see you turning your camera on. No pressure, but we would love to see your beautiful faces. If your house is a mess, it doesn't matter. There's no judging here. Maybe that will actually be a challenge for some of you perfectionists to just show what you got, be yourself, or put your virtual backgrounds on. So again, feel free to turn your cameras on if you feel called to do so. If you do hop off of mute, you will be featured in our live recording as this is being recorded, which reminds me, if you have signed up for this chat, be looking out for a rewatch email because that will have the link to this recorded chat along with other resources that our guest speaker might bring up throughout the hour. So be sure to look out for that. And the last thing I'll say is we'd love for you to follow us on socials so you can keep up with all the great chats that we've got in store and subscribe to our YouTube channel here. All right, so if this is the first Chat and Learn that you've joined where I've moderated, I'm just gonna take a couple seconds to introduce myself. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, currently live in San Martin de los Andes in Patagonia, Argentina. I love speaking about the importance of emotional intelligence at work, at home, and in our communities in general. So I might bring some of my reflections there. Feel free to philosophize with me on emotional intelligence if you're into that. Otherwise, I'd love to invite you all to join the project that I'm working on that is called the Positive Force Team. You can go to thepositiveforceteam.org or sign up for our newsletter. And I'm also happy to connect on LinkedIn. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to our guest speaker who's calling from Massachusetts today. Paulette, let us know a little bit about yourself, how you came to learn about Power to Fly, and what you're excited to share with us today.
Yes, hi, welcome. My name is Paulette Piñero, and before you read my bio, I am a recovering perfectionist. And what that means is that I try to do it all perfectly for myself, for everyone, for a long time. And I was living from PTO to vacation to sick time. We've all done it. Don't shame me. We've all done it. And after many years of trying to please everyone and please myself, because I thought I was doing it for myself, I got burned out and I decided that I wanted to do something different. And the moment that I decided to do something different and follow my dreams, which is to be a management consultant, speaker, author, and leadership coach, which is what I am right now, and a business owner to Lead Media. The moment I decided, you know what, it's my time, I ended up in ICU with COVID, almost losing my life. And it was very rough because as I was coming in and out of consciousness, as I was like, I finally decided to just do it. I had to come to terms that I had postponed my dreams and my life, and I was about to die, to the point where I had to say goodbye to my children and my husband and my family through an iPad. So it was the moment, the breakthrough that I needed to say, this stops now, and you have to prioritize joy and what is holding you back. And it was perfectionism. So I said to myself, if I get out of this hospital, if anyone hears me on up there, if I get out of this hospital, my life will be different. Why I'm talking about this, what I write about this, why I'm so passionate about breaking up with perfectionism is that I don't want you to be in a hospital bed to make the decision of try something different. So that to me is more important than this wonderful and beautiful introduction to what I do. If you want to connect with me and if you want to hear more about me, feel free to reach out. I drop my LinkedIn profile URL. I'm the one who responds to DMs. I saw your awesome questions submitted, but I think that's a more powerful story than my bio, because I don't do this because it sounds cool. I don't talk about this because, that's the cool thing to talk about. It's because I lived it, and I want to save you a lot of money in therapy, which you should consider it, and almost losing your life.
Well, thank you so much for just setting the stage with, your personal journey and that the transparency behind that. I really appreciate you sharing that. And also just, coming from, I was speaking with a friend of mine that I'm working with the other day, and we're figuring out like, okay, I need your bio to share. And we had a really long conversation about, but the more important than the bio is the experience and the transformation that led me to be where I am today. And I love that you're echoing that. And also that you're, referring people to connect with you on LinkedIn to talk more and get to know you more. So thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And to continue to set the stage for today's conversation, I'd love for you to cover some of the principal themes that you're going to cover.
So by the end of today's chat, you should be able to identify if perfectionism is holding you back right now, not just in your career, but also in your life. You're going to get actionable steps to deal with perfectionist tendencies. We all have them at different levels, but I'm going to help you get some actionable steps. And then you're also going to get tips and tricks to empower others without perfectionist expectations. So we tend to care a lot about others and prioritize other people's needs. It's okay. I'm a mom. My kids gotta eat. I can't stop feeding them. But how can we take care of others, of our communities, of our loved ones, of our family, our friends, our dogs? My dog usually jumps into Zoom calls, so you might see Boris, while holding back from those perfectionist tendencies.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can open up these awesome questions that you all have submitted previous to the conversation. But before we get started, I just want to shout out folks who are already dropping in the chat box where they're calling from. So we've got Arizona representing, Florida representing, we've got Kentucky, Argentina, Buenos Aires, Argentina. We've got Wake Forest, North Carolina, Minnesota. We've got New York, Long Island, New York, South Carolina, California, Boulder, Colorado, Michigan, Denmark, Illinois. Awesome. Let's see who else is dropping in the chat here. Dallas. Awesome. So we're pretty global already. Nigeria. Great. Thank you all for dropping in the chat box there. So as you all see, Paulette has put her LinkedIn link there for you all to connect with her. And I would just say, hold off on opening tabs and multitasking. Save that link and refer back to it later so that you can be present with us. So we're going to take these questions one by one. If you hear your question come up and you're here live with us, please let us know that you're here so we can make sure that, we have covered the response to your liking, or if you have any more doubts or reflections. If you don't hear your question come up, maybe something comes to mind in the moment, or maybe you didn't get a chance to submit a question before. Again, we want to hear from you. So please utilize the chat box or feel free to hop off of mute whenever you feel called to do so. All right, so let's start with this first question here. I'm a perfectionist, but procrastination isn't a major feature in my behavior. What are the most common and what are the most common and destructive effects of being a perfectionist?
So procrastination might not be the issue, but are you really living the life that you want for yourself? That's going to be my first question to you. Because you might not be procrastinating in things that other people want you to do, but are you procrastinating in the things that you want to do because you're waiting for the perfect time for that to happen? Are you waiting for, I need to have the 10 degrees, 30 certifications, perfect portfolio, LinkedIn website, logo, resume? That might not be holding you back at work because you have a plan, or if you're a business owner, that might not be holding you back on your day-to-day because you may have a strategic plan. But it said holding you back from prioritizing joy. And it usually is. It's holding you back from making sure that joy is number one, that peace of mind is number one, and that you are living out what you want to do with your life rather than what is prescribed. And it happens a lot because we see perfectionism, and especially for women of color, we see perfectionism as something to strive for because that's the right way. And I co-author a book with a whole bunch of awesome powerhouse Latinas. And I spoke and wrote about breaking up with perfectionism because we are taught that our careers, our success is a ladder. Like, I'm going to do this and then do this and then do this and then do this. And like at the end, you see this like money and like CEO and all these things. That's what is prescribed. The ladder is lonely. And the bad thing about the ladder is that there's only one way to go. And if you don't go to the next step, you feel defeated. If maybe it made sense to you, that ladder, when you were in college or in high school or a month ago, but it doesn't allow you to change. It doesn't allow you to pivot. It doesn't allow you to bring your best self and live out your professional and personal values. I want you to and it's also lonely. There's not a lot steps, ladders that you can fit like 50 people. And we know that success comes from building our network, having a group of people to support you, to empower you, and for you to do that. So I want you to get off the ladder and think of yourself going on a path, because if there is a block, then you can create another path. You can jump it, or bring people to push you over. And perfectionism keeps you in that ladder, and breaking up with perfectionism allows you to live the life that you want for yourself, not what others or society or anyone else wants for you. So I'm going to push you a little bit from it's not holding you back. Procrastination might not be the issue, but living out a life of purpose. I know it sounds super cheesy, but it is true. Living out a life of purpose, it is holding you back there. There's Boris making all the noise.
Because Boris agrees. I don't think it's cheesy. I think that, we're tackling essentially coming back to ourselves. And actually Jenny here just wrote in the chat box, you are plucking all of my sensitive strings. Oh, wow. These are all the things I tell myself. Thank you so much for helping me to not feel alone with these thoughts. I mean, and I echo that. I put in the chat box, the ladder is lonely. And I love that quote. There is something, I can't think of, I'm going to butcher the quote, but it comes from Taoism. Something about if you climb the ladder, it makes you very unstable and wobbly. You're not on the ground. You don't have a firm foundation. And I love the reflection of coming back to yourself, making sure that you're fulfilling your sense of self, which has everything to do with, in my opinion, emotional intelligence, coming back to your sense of self instead of trying to, live up to other people's expectations or the status quo that, frankly, historically speaking, didn't include the global majority, people of color, and all of the isms that we experience that basically leave us out. So I love that you're saying, like, get off the ladder, and you're like, I'm going to push you and push people off the ladder so we can come back to earth.
You won't fall. I'll put like cushions at the bottom. I promise. I'll hold you too.
Great. So actually, before moving on to the next question, I just want to see if someone would like to hop off mute and voice their question or reflection. I know we're just getting started, so maybe, we want to hear a little bit more of our guest speaker before, but maybe someone wants to hop off. And so I do this during the sessions I moderate. This is me practicing emotional intelligence and active listening. So I'll hold for a light pause. And please, if you want to hop off mute, please use this time to hop off mute. Sometimes it works. I'll be doing this later, so be looking out for that pause later. All right, otherwise, please continue to drop in the chat box. All right, so let's move on to this next question here. I'm recovering from a pretty intense burnout, due in great measure to my perfectionism. What can I do to resist my ingrained perfectionist tendencies as I recover?
Therapy. So there's two things. You want to do two things as a recovering perfectionist. Therapy. Number one, because I'm a leadership coach. And I get a lot of people that say, well, I need a coach to support me get from point A to point Z. That's awesome. I'm here for that. Are you looking for clarity and confidence and go from burned out to thriving? Perfect. Usually during my first session, and the first session that I do is a life story map. It's the first exercise. When we talk about what are those pivotal moments in your story, in your life what are the highs and the lows? What are those points in your life that made you be where you're at today? What you start seeing, and I encourage you to do it, you start seeing how a lot of the decisions that you've made as an adult are not just because other people told you to do them, it's because they are trauma responses. And I see this a lot with women, that it's like, I got the master's and I got the second master's, then I got the graduate certification and I have the doctorate. Maybe I'm going to enroll back in the doctorate. And I'm like, did you do that because you are passionate about that degree? Or did you do that because someone told you that the only path to success is to go back to school? And it's usually a call with me the first time that they're investing in themselves outside of education. I'm all for it. But that's what I was talking about before. Why are you making this decision? Why is this goal important to you? Is it because it makes sense for others? Or is it because there's a bigger purpose? Are you opening a business because you want more money? Or it's because having more money is going to give you peace of mind, that you don't have to worry about asking for help, that you can help others, that you just want to go on vacation, you want to have savings, you want to sleep at night, you want to pay the copayment for your therapist. I ask my clients after they write a goal, why and what does it give you 5 times? Do that exercise. So that's why therapy is so important, because if the decisions that you have made are trauma responses of things that you have lived through, for me, I realized that's what it was. I was like, I need to grow. Maybe like every 2 years, I need a promotion. And what I was looking was security, peace of mind, and having a seat at the table. By knowing that, I can decide, is being the CEO of someone else's company what's going to work for me, or is being the CEO of my own company is what's going to give that to me, because I wanted also the peace of mind of being there for my son who has special needs. You see the difference? So therapy will help you identify what are those things that I need help with from someone who is a professional. And then the other piece, maybe therapy is not for you, maybe you're already doing therapy, is to build what I call your professional board of advisors. And when I work with my clients, I like, you have your board of advisors like any nonprofit or business would have. And look at those, like, what are the board seats that I need to fill? I need someone for career, maybe finance, maybe legal, family, relationships, friendships, and assign someone from your network, from your family. You know, maybe you talk to your mom when you have a relationship problem with your partner, or maybe you talk to your aunt and uncle when tax season comes in. Make sure that you know and write down what's the position that they hold, who is in that position. I call myself a chief motivational officer because that's what I do as a leadership and business coach. I'm here to motivate. Is it mental health should be from a therapist, or is it a friend that you know that when you're having a rough time, they can support you, that they know your triggers? If you suffer from anxiety, this is the person that you already call and they already like walk you through the process. So who's your support team? You need to build your support system. And it's not just have it in your head, it's making sure that they have a seat, that they get a performance review every year, even if it's in your head. Yeah, I bet you all have mentors that you're like, I don't even talk to them anymore. They might not be the right fit. They might not need a seat right now, and that's fine. And then once you know who is on your professional board of advisors, who are the people holding those seats, let them know. Let them know, hey, you support me this way. This is how I would love for you to show up. This is how I'm going to support you. And then look at the seats that are empty and fill them up. Some might be a therapist, some might be a coach, some might be a friend, some might be a new plant. I'm trying to be a plant mom, but I'm killing them all. So that can no longer be my plants can no longer be my board of advisors. Building that network is going to help you break up with perfectionism, because they're going to keep you accountable and they're going to remind you why you are working towards a goal. Because it's not about, you know, I want to be the CEO because it looks great on a resume. It's, I want to be the CEO. I want to be the director. I want to be the manager. I want to be an entrepreneur because it gives me this and that brings me joy. That sparks joy. That's going to grow. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to be excited to do what I love to do every single day.
You're dropping so much knowledge. I'm like taking notes over here as well. And we have Melissa who dropped in the chat box. That was literally me at 26. I started my MBA because I was stuck and felt like it was my only option. Which, just to echo your point, I mean, I love personally, like in my personal life as an individual, and then as much as I can share and speak about it with authentic dialogue, not to debate, not to discuss, not to get in arguments. How can we begin to decolonize the mind more and more? And in that comes this idea of success. Well, what version of success are we holding that up to? Like, who defined this for us? Depending on where we were born, depending on the family and friends that are around us, depending on our community, depending on our relationship to technology, like it's always fluctuating. And so actually, I feel like we all need a professional board of advisors, especially in these really critical times. Like, we're at a very big crossroads where people are being advised by strangers online or maybe new friends online. And it's like, I think at least now more than ever, because we have so much noise happening around us, we need that like foundational base to make sure that we are walking the path that we want to walk, and also to be flexible on that path, and also to have that reciprocity. I love that you mentioned, this is what I need from you, and this is what I'm going to offer to you. So it is a two-way street, and you're not just, sucking energy out of people for your sake of needing to be, put on the right path. So thank you so much for this.
And you are setting boundaries with them and allowing them to set boundaries with you.
Absolutely. All right. So anyone want to hop off mute, voice a reflection or a question? Paulette has just dropped a lot of knowledge. Let's see if someone wants to take this light pause to hop off of mute. Feel free to do so. If not, I got more questions. All right, let's move on to, oh yes, someone wants to, go for it. You can hop off mute.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Ngozi from Nigeria. So my network was usually initially very not so good. But my question was, I think the first time she was talking about, what's it called? Procrastination. So with me, I think procrastination is actually one of my biggest challenge when it comes to, perfectionism. But it's not actually not doing what I'm supposed to do. It's just getting angry at myself for not doing what I'm supposed to do. Not that I've already planned something and then I don't just do it. So I don't go further to do other things that are in line in that. So I just stop because I didn't do number one, automatically I don't want to go back to number two because I'm angry at myself because I didn't do number one. So it's not perfect for me. So my question is how, can I actually handle this or go around this, so I can actually hop into number two, number three, without getting angry at myself that I didn't do the basic things. Yes, thank you so much.
Of course, that's an awesome question. So the first thing I'm going to say is identify where you're feeling it. Where? Is it in your heart? Is it in your head? Is it in your back? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your head? Is it in your feet? Is it in your legs? By identifying first where you feel it, you realize and your mind is realizing, oh, this is not taking all over me. I'm feeling it somewhere. Okay. It's not, where's the elephant? Where am I feeling it? I feel it in I usually feel it in my chest, not in my heart, but like here, like in the middle, or I feel it in my throat. So identify where the feeling is. Also know that procrastination is your body's response to stopping. So think about what you're going to do. Exactly on my chest. Yes. Identify what is the task that you're going to do, because we tend to think, well, let's say I want to earn $10,000 more. There's a lot of steps that need to happen before you earn $10,000 more. So let's start. What are the steps that you need to take? And then which of these steps is the one holding you back? The one that you're so scared to do or so anxious or so nervous, the step that you're procrastinating on. Identify what is the feeling. Are you scared of failure? Are you scared of what people are going to say? Are you scared of doing it wrong? Are you scared that it's not going to look perfect? Are you scared that it might not work out? That is what procrastination is. Procrastination is your body stopping you from doing something based on the emotion that task is going to make you feel. Once you know what the emotion is that's holding you back, then it's way easier. Because if it's something as like, I need to send an email to my boss or to a client or to a graphic designer because I want to launch my business. And those things, it might be, they're going to say no, rejection, failure. And then ask yourself, but what if it works out? What if they say yes? What if? Once you see the possibility of the positive, that's awesome. And if it's negative, you have surpassed and survived and overcome so much crap already. You're going to get over this small thing. If it's failure, then you're already doing something new. You're going to do another one. If it's no, then it might be not now, no, but talk to this person, or no, then I'm going to talk to someone else. You've already overcome so much that feeling, that scary feeling that's holding you back, turn it into what would happen if they said yes? What would happen if this worked out? And if it doesn't work out, what is it that I'm going to do? But remember, procrastination is the feeling of the bad things that could happen by doing that step. So you're punishing yourself twice, 3 times, 4 times already. Give yourself some grace and know that you've already done some pretty cool stuff already. If it doesn't work out, you've already had rejection. You've already had failure. You've already had no's. You've already had people say things that don't reflect who you are, and you already overcame those things. So another one, it's fine. And then every morning I tell people, write down your ridiculously small step. This is a step so small that if there was a zombie apocalypse, you would still be able to do it. So it's not writing a 10-page email because I'm running and the zombies are coming. Sending an email, can you remind me about doing this? You can do that while running. You can get your phone, run, looking back. That setting an alarm is a ridiculously small step. Building a whole website is not. What is a ridiculously small step that you can do today to get closer to your goals? So it might be that you're scared or procrastinating on putting something on social media. A ridiculously small step can be, I'm going to open Instagram. I'm going to open LinkedIn on my phone and just leave it open. That's going to get you closer to that goal. It might not be today, it might be tomorrow. But every morning, write your ridiculously small step and ask yourself, can I do this while I'm hiding or running away from zombies trying to eat my brain?
That's great. That's great. And I mean, it brings humor to something that can be such a burden, right? I love that you're balancing it in a very holistic way. I will also mention, I love reflecting on the breath. And I love that you are asking us to come back to our bodies to see, where do we feel this anxiety? Where do we feel this sense of failure, or whatever it is that's coming up? And the person who hopped off mute, I saw that she wrote in the chat box that it's in her chest. And you also mentioned that it's in your chest. I mean, let's be connected to our breath more and more, especially in these moments, because otherwise, just quickly, there's a survival breath that is necessary for when we need to survive. Zombies are attacking you. Someone pushes you in the water. Someone is following you down an alley. You go into the survival breath, which it comes from your chest, but it's a way to, get the maximum amount of oxygen to yourself in a quick way so you can defend yourself and survive. But when we're not in survival mode, we can have access to our deep belly breath, which is, maybe it takes a little more time, but I think it brings more clarity. And also it might dissolve some of that anxiety that comes up in our body. So I just wanted to remind folks, connect with your breath, drink a lot of water, walk away from the screen, look at the sky, and then come back to it. I just also want to flag that Jenny wrote here in the chat box. I'd love to add, take your wins. If you have come through something before, next time you can remind yourself, you've done this before, you will do it again, and you can do it again. I would love to hear you comment on that.
Yes, it's something that also therapy teaches you to do. And it's something that I constantly remind myself, especially with, because perfectionism is for me, it hasn't just been about things looking perfect, looking at every possible outcome that can happen and preparing for it. It has also been, and it has mostly been about the failure and reminding myself, you have failed. You haven't gotten the promotion. You haven't gotten the raise. The clients have said no. Someone has been mean to you already. Doors have closed. Opportunities, have disappeared. And you still break through and you still are successful. And by what I define success, because that's the other thing. How do you define your success? I'm still successful the way that I define success. So that means that I can do it. And maybe it's a different type of rejection, or even if it's a different type of failure, you know what? I have overcome more than that. And secondly, if it doesn't work out, I can try something else. We don't remind ourselves that we can try something else. I hear a lot of people talk about innovation. The way that innovation is defined is something that people need and something that people will use. But it needs to have those two components to be innovative. We focus on something that people need, a need that is not met, a need that I can support in a different way, whether it's your clients, your customers, your coworkers, your boss, your family, your kids, your dogs. Make sure that it's also something that people are going to use. It needs those two things to work. So you might try something, you might do something that doesn't work out, then go back to your network, go back to people, go back to the drawing board. See that failure as an opportunity to make sure that those two things are happening. This didn't work out, then what else should I try? That is the key. There's a lot of key to success to leadership. I say is open. Didn't say flexible, perfect. I said open to constant change. Things need to change to work out because your environment and your systems are constantly changing. And this year and a half has taught us that. So that's my key to leadership. And perfectionism doesn't allow us to do that because there's it's one track mind. So that's why we have to break up with perfectionism.
Absolutely. It's the present and the future. Hopefully people can be more courageous in breaking up with perfectionism. I mean, because otherwise we're stuck in a linear trance, right? And we're not bridging right brain, left brain, which has to do with, connecting our ability to be more emotionally intelligent, let's say, and complementing that with, the logic and the intelligence that, the IQ part of us that we've been developing. So I love that you're looking at this in a very holistic way. Jenny says that she has a sticky note on her computer that says, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And also I wrote in the chat box, the acronym that someone shared with me once that I love, FAIL, FAIL, first attempt in learning. Mm-hmm. Or maybe first few attempts in learning, we can say. Yes. And I also love that you started off by saying to see the possibility of the positive. Someone else brought up during a virtual career fair that, you can find all the ways that things can go wrong. I mean, you can totally find all the ways that something can go wrong. And why not focus your energy on all of the possibilities that could happen instead of putting your energy in seeing the negative. So I really appreciate that reflection. Oh, this is great. Thank you so much, Paulette. Let's move on to this next question that folks submitted previous to the chat. And then I'll, after this question, I'll hold for another light pause to see if someone wants to hop off mute. I really appreciate the participation, everyone. Thank you so much. All right, so this question reads, I have worked hard on not placing my perfectionist expectations on others, but I don't give myself the same permission when it comes to my work. How can I holistically change my approach in work habits without dipping back into old patterns?
Yes. Oh, I did that. I'm a great manager for others. Am I managing myself the same way? I want you to think about why you no longer set perfectionist expectations for your team, for your staff, for the people you work with. And I know that all or a part of it is because perfectionism hinders creativity, because a perfectionist environment doesn't allow folks to bring their specific skills, background, knowledge, talent. It doesn't allow people to show up as their best self. By holding on to perfectionism for yourself at work, it means that you are not showing up as your best self. I know, truth bomb. I know it's hard. And you're already thinking like, Paulette, but I'm a badass at work. I'm bomb. Like, look at my performance review. I got all 5s. It might be true. But you're showing up for everyone else except yourself. And you have a lot of talent, skills, things that your team wants to not just embrace, but learn about. And remember that perfectionism for yourself at work, it's keeping you in the ladder. And the ladder is lonely. And the ladder doesn't allow you to bring other people, not just to support you, but collaborate. Perfectionism in your work for yourself, for your expectations, only allows you to be the person that's shining. That also means that you're the person controlling everything, doing all the work, and then supporting everyone else at the same time for them to show up as their best selves. Imagine a work environment where you are shining, everyone else is shining, and you can clock out at 5 o'clock and not have to worry about work, looking at your emails, text messages, responding, because you show up to work to do what you need to do, what you want to do, and what is required of you, rather than creating all these lists of all the things that you should be doing because this is what will make it prettier or make it fancier, or I'm going to put this email in Grammarly 3 times to make sure that it's correct and that I didn't put an in over an on, and there are periods and exclamation points, and I'm using active voice versus passive voice. That doesn't allow you to show up your best self. That doesn't allow you to collaborate. That doesn't allow you to thrive and allow others to thrive with you. That doesn't allow you to set boundaries. That doesn't allow you to partner with other people and you might think that not having this expectation on your team is working, but your staff, your team, and your peers are seeing the way that you show up for work. And that's the standard that you're showing them they need to have. So you might be creating the environment with your mouth, but you're not creating the equitable, inclusive, and thriving environment with your example.
Yes. Okay. We've got folks singing your praises here in the chat box. This is so good, Paulette. Thank you so much for dropping that in the chat box. All right. So we've got a little under 15 minutes. I'm going to hold for another light pause to see if someone wants to use this time to hop off mute. I would encourage you to hop off mute if you submitted a question and you have not yet heard your question, for example, or if you have something that comes to mind based on everything that Paulette has said in the past 45 minutes, a reflection or a question, you're more than welcome to. So here's the light pause.
I have a question. I submitted it before. It was basically, how do you, because I've heard there's like perfectionism and then there's like striving for excellence. And for me, like, I don't know how to strive for my best without being perfectionistic. And I don't know if you could like put any light on that concept and trying to switch away from perfectionism.
Yes. So striving for excellence is, what do I need to do to work on this or create this, whatever you're working on, or whatever your goal is? What do I need to do to achieve that goal, that I get the results that I need? So it's really about, what is the result that I need, and what do I need to do to get there? Perfectionism tells you that you need to look at every variable before getting to the end goal. By staying in perfectionism, so let's put an example. You want to create your LinkedIn profile. You should all have a LinkedIn profile. You don't, block some time. You're like, I'm going to apply for jobs, or I'm launching my business and I need to create my LinkedIn profile. Your zone of excellence, focusing on excellence, is, what am I good at? How do I block the time? What do I need to put in my LinkedIn profile so my LinkedIn profile is ready? Perfectionism says, I won't have my LinkedIn profile until I have the perfect bio, the perfect headshot, the perfect headline. I update my resume so I can copy and paste. I don't want my certification space to be empty. So what certifications can I take for free so I can put them there? So when people go on my LinkedIn profile, they see that I do know how to do marketing, or I really know how to do customer service, or I am a badass in the tech field. That was not the goal. The goal was to have a LinkedIn profile so you can have a space on the web, so you have a portfolio and can show people, what you're all about and what you love to do. And also working from your zone of excellence, and I'm going to push you to working from your zone of genius, because if you work from your zone of genius, Kay Hendricks' books, The Big Leap, if you work from your zone of genius, you're going to be like, this is what I need to do. I'm really bad at writing bios. Who do I need to hire to write my bio? But working from your zone of excellence allows you to say, well, I'll make the bio because I'll make the bio because I need my LinkedIn profile to be ready. The more I learn about LinkedIn and read other people's bios, then I'll change it. So you achieve your goal, you're still working from excellence, you're still, putting a professional brand and putting your message out there and, leveling up for your business or your career. It might take you a day. It's not taking you 3 years, because perfectionism keeps stopping you, because this is not up to par. This is not perfect. This is not what should be there. 10 people that I've seen their profiles have hyperlinks and like emojis. How do I add an emoji? I want a GIF. How do I have that? That's not what's going to get you the job. That's not what's going to give you the sales. That's not what's going to get you to your goal. That's for you. Not even for you. That's for your mind that's trying to tell you all these things that you have to do because other people have done it. The other thing, just because people are doing it does not mean that it's working well for them. It doesn't. You might see the person with the perfect Instagram, the perfect resume, the perfect words to say things, the perfect headshot, the perfect everything. That's your perception. That doesn't mean that that is working for them. That doesn't mean that it's giving them the return on investment. That doesn't mean that it's giving them the job, the career, the clients that they want. They might be projecting or saying those things, but that doesn't mean that it's true. So identify like, who is giving me, what is my goal? What are the things that are holding me back? And then what can I do right now to get closer to my goal? And what are the things that need to wait because it's a perfectionist tendency or something that I am putting on myself that no one else is asking me to do? Does that help, Helen? Thumbs up?
It absolutely does. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen, for hopping off of mute. Wow, Paulette, thank you so much. People are dropping in the chat box that this is like spot on and very powerful. So I appreciate that. All right, we've got 7 minutes left. Tanisha, go ahead and hop off mute, and please keep in mind that we're a little short on time, but we do want to hear your reflection or your question. So go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll make it quick. So I just loved the comparison to the zombie apocalypse and the smallest action you can take even while you're running from that. But my question is, some things are so ingrained and we're so used to never prioritizing it, partially because of the perfectionism, but also because it only affects me and it's not urgent, or it's something with no real deadline that can be pushed. And so you'll wait till that perfect time to like do it perfectly. For example, even something as basic as just cleaning or organizing my apartment, but obviously this could relate to cleaning my inbox at work. What's your strategy for tackling stuff like that?
So I'm going to do like the emotional strategy and the technical strategy. So the emotional strategy is going back to when we talked about procrastination, of like, what's the feeling? What is it really that's holding me back? And what would happen if I say, but what if, right? What if? Rachel Rogers' books, We Should All Be Millionaires, which every woman should read. It's a great book that talks about the but what if? So ask yourself that, but what if I did it? What will I achieve? What else would I have the capacity to do? But the technical recommendation too is there's something called the Pomodoro Technique, Pomodoro being tomato. If you Google tomato timer, so the Pomodoro Technique, what it helps you do is you take you focus on a task or a project, just that task or that project, and you set a timer for a short period of time where you're disconnecting from everything else. You're not doing anything else or focusing on everything else and just working on that task. After the timer is done, which it's usually 10 or 20 minutes, then you take a short break. It's great for Instagram scrolling. And then you disconnect from everything, and then you go back to focusing on that task. I know what the saying is, like, eat the frog first. I don't know, early in the morning, like do the big task, scary task in the morning, and you'll see how the rest of your day works out even better. So I use this technique. It's an excellent technique. If you Google tomato timer or Pomodoro technique, you'll even find software or apps that you can use from your browser, and it will block everything else until the timer goes off. And this is great. If you have an hour, you can do 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5-minute break. Or maybe you have 30 minutes or even 15 minutes to tackle that project. You focus on that project or that task for a short time. So now it's not, I have to like study for my test for 4 hours. Now it is, I'm only studying for my test for 20 minutes. And that's a big shift in your mindset where you're not looking at the big goal, you're looking at the smaller goal that's going to get you to achieve that big, fantastic, audition smart goal at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha, for hopping off of mute. Oh, this has been such an enriching conversation. Paulette, thank you so much. We have some people asking if you could just name those books again. I would just remind folks, if you signed up for this chat, Paulette will be adding links to resources that she's mentioning here. But just in case folks are listening to this video later and they didn't sign up, can you just mention the books that you talked about before? I know one is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rogers.
Yes. Is amazing because it's all about how we should all be millionaires to dismantle systems of oppression and create the life that we want for ourselves and our communities, because for the fight to continue, someone needs to finance it, and who better than us? So Rachel Rogers, We Should All Be Millionaires. And then if to work from your zone of genius, which is that one thing that you're positioned to do better than anyone else, and you all have a zone of genius, that is, you can read Gay Hendricks' The Big Leap. He talks about the 4 zones of competence: incompetence, competence, excellence, and genius.
Beautiful. All right, so we've got 2 minutes left. You've dropped a wealth of knowledge so far, but can you leave us with some food for thought, something to consider, so that when we end this conversation, we can be confident and courageous and also take time to breathe and connect based on your food for thought here. And then Paulette, please remind us how we can connect with you when we finish this conversation.
Yes. So there was around 150 people that signed up to today's Chat and Learn. This means that at least 150 people are struggling with perfectionism. You are not the only one. This is not the first time you will work on this, but the first step, I tell people it's embarrassing, but hey, I have a 9-year-old daughter. One of my favorite movies is Frozen 2. It is. I can sing the whole soundtrack. So it's Frozen 2. And there's a moment in the movie that I won't spoil it, where one of the princesses, Anna, something really bad happens to her and she's crying and on the floor and she doesn't know what to do. And she reminds herself, just take the right next step. I'm a recovering perfectionist, so this is something that I worked on every day. I see my therapist every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I saw her today. So just take one step. Just start. Procrastination, just take one step. Perfectionism, one step. Working on that goal is that ridiculously small step. Take it one step at a time. It's fine to see the end result. It's fine to see the end goal, but just start. Just take one small, ridiculously small step, and it gets easier to go and keep moving. So that's my kind of like the thing that I will love for you to live with. And you took the first ridiculously small step today. And then I will love to connect with everyone. I love my LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I love Instagram. I love the other ones, but LinkedIn is my jam. And I share content every day around leadership, business, and career. So I'm going to drop my LinkedIn on the chat. Please connect with me. You can follow me, but go and hit connect. I want to hear from you, talk with you, engage with you, support you, and yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Folks are singing your praises in the chat box. And yes, as you mentioned, 150 people signed up, so we are not alone. I love that encouragement, the sense of community as well. Thank you so much, Paulette. Thank you everyone who joined this conversation. And if you're rewatching, thank you for watching this. Send this out to your folks, your community, your friends, your family. I know that we need to support each other more here. So feel free to send this video to folks. And we'll see you all on the next Chat and Learn. Take care, everyone.